But again, we've been keeping Harshvardhan Roongta waiting for some time now, so let's quickly go across to him. Harshvardhan, there are like a gamut of investment choices which are available these days. These multiple number of Medi-Claim policy. Also, is it fair share to it confuses the investors basically. So can you take us through how investors can know which Medi-Claim policy is suited to them?
Well, Rima, you're right, because we've seen after privatization, you've seen that a lot of Medi-Claim policies, a lot of insurance companies are launching their Medi-Claim policies. So there are competitive products, but at the same time, these lead to confusion in the minds of the individuals. So let me just consider this Medi-Claim policy per se is basically a policy which promises to reimburse the hospitalization expenses. So for the moment, we're keeping out all other health kind of policies. Now, within Medi-Claim itself, there are two types. One is an individual policy and a family floater. So, irrespective of the type of Medi-Claim that you're taking, there are certain features, which an investor or an individual should look out for before he buys the Medi-Claim. Now, if I name of 4 or 5 important ones, one would be some policies do have a sub-limit within their policies. Now, say for instance, some policies say that we will, there is a restriction of 1% on the room rent that you can pay. So, which means that if a person has a 3 lakh life cover, 3 lakh Medi-Claim cover rather, 1% of 3 lakhs is about 3,000 rupees. So, he is entitled to a room which is up to 3,000 rupees per day. Now, for some reason, he gets into a room which is more than 3,000, say 5 or 6,000 room per day charge, because he does not get a room, or he chooses a room which is a higher category. Now, the expenses that the insurance company will bear is going to be proportionate to the category which he is entitled to, which is 3,000 rupees. Now, hospitals do have a practice of charging, the operation theatre charges and surgeon's fees depending on the category of room that you are in. So, it is more appropriate for an individual to buy a policy which does not have these sub-limits within the policy. Now, another thing which a person needs to look out for is that there is a levy on claims that you make. There is a loading that an insurance company levies in case you made a claim. Now, if the same person with a 3 lakh cover makes a claim of 2 lakhs in the year, which is more than 50% of his sum insured, next year when the policy comes for renewal, insurance companies penalize the individual and charge him almost double the premium of what he is paid last year. So, again, you need to be careful if that clause is included in your Medi-Claim policy. The other thing is a copay clause. Now, what is a copay? Is that in every claim, if there is a copay clause of 20%, the consumer will need to pay 20% of every claim, irrespective of it being within the limit of his sum insurance. Now, for instance, he's got a 3 lakh cover, he makes a claim of 1 lakh and there is a copay clause of 20%. He will have to bear 20% on himself and the rest will be borne by the insurance company. So, then there is another point that you need to look out for is there a maximum age till when the insurance company will cover you, which is say 65 years or 75 years of age. So, you need to ensure that your policy is going to promise you to cover even beyond that, the 75 years of age that you're going to live, and gives you lifelong cover. Now, other smaller points, what is the period before the hospitalization that you're going to be entitled for reimbursement, and post hospitalization? When are the pre-existing illnesses going to start to be covered? What is the network of hospitals? So these are the basic features that you need to look out for in your Medi-Claim policy and decide and compare it with another company. So if you keep these points in mind, it will be much easier for you to select an insurance company that you want to buy Medi-Claim from.
A very quick question, Harsh. Does the cover normally include even non-allopathic treatments? For instance, Ayurvedic treatments, say you take in Kottakkal or places like that which are famous for that?
No, see what happens is if there is any treatment, normally non-allopathic treatments are not covered, but we are seeing an introduction of some policies which cover Ayurvedic and which covers the Unani treatments as well. But they necessarily need not be rest cure. You cannot be taking them just to rejuvenate yourself or to detoxify yourself. It has to be a part of the treatment, and once it is proven to be a part of the treatment, then it can be considered, provided it is provided in your policy document. So you have to read that as well. It's a very valid point that you've raised, and I would suggest the individuals to even look into those features if they are included.
I know some arthritic patients who are caught with high expenses on these kinds of treatments and the insurance company not paying up. But Harsh, that's very useful advice on how we should read the Medi-Claim document. It is so much of small print. I have never been able to have the patience to read beyond the first page, but it is to our advantage to do so.